Okay, this is a good noob report. For you noobs, when you're making a list, I threw this together on the last game on Battle Report 20. This was a big mistake that a lot of people make because when they make their battle report, they usually make it based on, I'm going to have all my forces on the board. Now, if you're in always attack, that might be a good thing, but there's still scenarios in which you have reserves. In which case, especially if you have an infantry force, you want to have an even amount because it says up to, or at least half, have to be in reserve. So the mistake I made is that I had 1, 2, a tank 3, 4, and then I had chemical, so that's 5. I had 5 platoons, so 3 had to go off the board, and that meant over half my army did not get on the board for that game. So whenever you're making an army, always have an even amount of platoons. Now you can get away with it if you have weapons that can detach. For instance, in a lot of infantry, they'll give you weapons platoons that'll give you combat attachments. So here's the weapons, and it says can make combat attachments to combat platoons, which means that you can take these guys and just completely distribute them amongst your combat platoons, which is a good idea a lot of times anyway. But also keep that in mind, that if you have an even amount of platoons and you've got your light machine guns here, or whatever, and you attach them to a regular platoon, then that platoon disappears and no longer counts as a platoon. Now you got an odd amount of platoons. So always make sure that your force is going to end up with an even amount, because you don't want to get caught with less than half your force on the board in these defensive scenarios or reserve scenarios.